Hey guys, I've got a nice little video here about some better lighting techniques with CopperCube using DirectX 9. So here's your basic sphere. It's just currently set to, well, static would be like that. Dynamic, if you allow dynamic lighting, it allows a lot better different lighting techniques to be used. So automatically you got dynamic, but it won't show up until you've got lights set up in the scene. So there's a point light, just like in front of it. That automatically looks a lot better, but you can get a lot better than that even. So you may not be aware. So I've got a bit of ambient lighting of about 40. That's by default. White ambient lighting here in the Irrelic properties, but you can reduce the amount of the effect of the ambient lighting on the object if it's, you don't want to like just a generalized plain washed color across the whole thing. It doesn't look that good, so you'll have a better look if you reduce the amount of ambient lighting exposure to it. So you have more darker and brighter areas, in other words, but you don't want to go too far with it because it'll look too severe, too savage, like the dark and lighter highlight sections. Yeah, usually I find somewhere in the middle is a good place to start. So you're getting that little bit of darker edges and lighter, so that automatically looks a little bit better already. And if you didn't know, you can actually use specular lighting. When the lighting type is set to dynamic, you can then make use of specular lighting. By default it's just black, which is off. But if you change it up to somewhere, I don't know, like, yeah, halfway, then you need to change this one here, shininess. It's not really shininess in a sense, it can be considered that, but it's more like specular highlights is a better terminology for it. So if you go to 0.5, it's not between 0 and 1, by the way. 0 is off, but you can go up to 20, 30, 40, 50, and you'll get different results. So there you go, I've just given it a bit of a specular highlight. So that's more of a across the board highlight. The funny thing is, the lower the number, the more it affects the whole area, whereas the higher the number, like 10, it just concentrates that to one area. That looks a bit more realistic, doesn't it? If the number is too high, it'll focus that light in a small section. I don't think that looks so good. I think about 5 to 10. Maybe 8, something like that. Doesn't look too bad, does it? I think it's an improvement. Maybe 10. Yeah, I think it's an improvement. Yeah, what do you guys think? So you can definitely make use of both specular and ambient. It's not ambient light, it's the just called ambient. Ambient lighting of the game is different. That's set up in the scene here, but of the object lighting, it's just called ambient. And you can change that amount if you want more contrast, like that. That's probably too much, I would think. Somewhere in the middle, usually pretty good. Like somewhere up there. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better. And if you want, yeah, the lower the number here, it washes over these specular highlights across a broader area. That doesn't look too bad, does it? I think it's alright. I mean, it's better than what it was, put it that way. Yeah, so it's showing the highlight of the point light there. So yeah, either any of the lights will affect it in that same way. Directional lighting as well. That's different, isn't it? What happens if I turn it off? Okay, so directional lighting has a strong effect on that as well. But you can also change the color of that if you want to, if you don't want so much directional lighting as well. Yeah, so there's some interesting different couple of ideas. If you want to just add a little bit of tweak the lighting aspect of your game a bit more, I think you can make use of the ambient and the specular as well. Emissive is more of a generalized glow, like a glow effect to the color. That's really different thing altogether. But it still works in a sense. It's still picking up the bright and dark areas, which is interesting. Mainly used for like lights and torches and other things like that. Sun objects, for very bright objects normally. So that's interesting. Specular, it's definitely usable. I haven't really worked out this diffuse one that much. I haven't really seen it do anything actually. So I don't know about that one. But the other ones, the ambient and specular, even the emissive if you want, they can be all changed. So shininess here, you could go up to 50 and it just reduces the amount of the highlight, which is interesting. If I go 0.01, the whole large area is affected in that case. So that doesn't look very good, but I reckon about somewhere around 10, 5 to 10 or somewhere there is pretty good. So I hope you like that. Cheers.